Alright, so it's time for the day 14 weigh-in. So I just need to zero the scales so that we have a baseline, jump on and see how we're going. Alright, 76.3. Stoked on that. That's 2 kgs in 14 days, 2 weeks. So now I'll just get into like how that weight loss came about using a keto diet. Alright, 2 weeks in, 14 days on a keto diet, and I've lost 2 kgs. But it's not all it's cracked up to be. So I've gone from 78.3 kgs to 76.3 kgs over 14 days. That's like 140 grams of weight loss per day. But it's not all body fat. Although some of it possibly is, what most of it comes down to is fluid loss or water loss. So when we remove carbohydrate from our diet, we also start to remove carbohydrate from our body. And that is what in turn triggers the ketosis, the metabolic state of ketosis and the formation of ketones. If you have a look at this diagram, you can see the loss of glycogen per 100 grams of tissue, so that's like muscle tissue, over the period of like 1 week and 6 weeks on a keto diet. You can see pretty much all loss happens within the first week, the shaded bars being just a control normal diet. So you lose a lot of glycogen. And with glycogen comes a loss of water, and also with the excretion of ketones comes the loss of salt, which also reduces your water retention. It's called diuresis, so an increased excretion of urine. And it's pretty common, like it's well documented in peer-reviewed studies that you're going to lose anywhere from 1 kg to 5 kgs depending on this, your starting mass and your muscle mass of fluid loss across a keto diet at the start. And all the way, into whenever you decide to stop, I guess, there may be some degree of fluid loss. And that's going to make you, look or feel as though you've lost a lot of weight. Because in actual fact, you have. But is it really fat mass? That one is hard to tell unless you have like a body composition monitor, either a BIA, bioelectrical impedance machine, or a DEXA. But otherwise, like you can see in my before and after shots, I've definitely lost some fat. A lot of it, sure, there's a bit of puffiness or lack of definition due to water retention, but I've definitely lost a bit of fat. And that's what you'd hope or at least expect when an endurance athlete goes into a keto diet. Looking at this graph, this is peak fat oxidation in grams per minute between a low carb diet and a high carb diet. HC high carb, LC low carb, obviously. So peak 1.6 grams per minute of fat oxidation. That's peak. You can see, when we're operating around at the bottom graph, 60 to 70% of our VO2 max. So that is like your zone 2, like your bread and butter training for an endurance athlete. You can see a habitually low carb athlete is going to be burning more fat within that zone. And they can even exercise at a higher intensity while burning that fat. So below those intensities, what would be zone 3 or like an Ironman effort, maybe an ultra 50k effort, depending on how competitive you are, you're going to be burning quite a lot of fat. And just through the nature of the diet and the satiation of the food you're eating, the fact that you're not eating junk food, you're potentially under eating on some big days, you're going to burn more fat than you otherwise would on a high carbohydrate diet. There's really no argument for that. That's just how the diet works. There is no carbohydrate available to burn, so you have to rely on fat. All the other complexities of diet come into it, what you're eating, how you're eating, when you're eating, and just through the nature of the diet, you should be burning fat, and you will be losing weight, especially initially because you're going to be losing a lot of water. So if you look at my weight trend over the 2 weeks, you can see when I did a hard session in the weekend, either long or the 10k, I've gained weight. Theoretical weight, I guess, fluid afterwards due to the inflammatory response of doing a hard session. So when you're weighing yourself and what you're eating and what kind of training you do all influence it. But the main thing for me was to reduce my weight range. So from 76 to 78, well, it's a little bit over. I want to get back into my normal training range of 75 to 77. And then hopefully as I get into the race season, I want to get down to 73, 75. And I'll use the same principle. But from here, I'll continue on for another couple days in ketosis, and now I'll start to cyclic my carbohydrates so that I'm able to continue to perform at a high intensity, because I have another 10k session and we'll touch on that in the next video. Alright, thanks guys, till next time, happy training.